Hey everybody, welcome to our very first hot take, which is going to be a series where we just go over cameras instead of lenses. And we felt it was fitting to do our first one on the brand new RED Komodo-X. So let's get into it. So the RED Komodo has been out roughly about 3 years now. It was a great little camera when it came out, but the camera had its limitations, and for that reason, it was a camera that I personally don't use very often unless I am using it as a B, C cam to something else, as like a rig camera or on a gimbal. Maybe it's mounted on the side of a car, FPV. Really serves its purpose there. But over the last few years, since the sensor looks so good, people have been trying to rig this to be more production friendly, and let's face it, it's just not for a multitude of reasons. One, getting to all the connectors was a pain. It was very limited in frame rate and format options based on the sensor. The battery plate and battery solution thing was kind of janky at best. That being said though, did create a great image, so a lot of people used it. And for a lot of people stepping up from mirrorless to a Komodo as their first entry into cinema cameras, it wasn't that bad of a camera, but there was lots to be improved upon, and that is where now we get the RED Komodo-X. So, lots of people have been talking, it's not worth the price to upgrade, blah, 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 but I am going to give my opinion on why I think it's been a great upgrade, and now this camera, to me, feels like a camera that I can shoot with on a multitude of projects instead of something that just kind of fits here and there. So, let's get into what the Komodo-X is and what they've done to improve on the original Komodo. So first, now you can shoot up to 100 frames a second in 6K if you're doing 2:4:1. If you're doing regular full format 6K and 17:9, you're gonna get 80 frames a second. To me, that's a massive upgrade because just this last weekend, I was shooting a project and we were doing slow-mo inside of a house, using a lot of the practicals inside of the house, and with all the modern LED, once you start going to slow-mo, you start seeing flicker and playback. Being able to go up to 96, 100 frames a second in 6K gives me so much flexibility to choose varying frame rates and shutter combinations to get around seeing the flicker while still staying in 6K and not having a massive crop. To me, this on any location anymore with so many different installs of lighting and practical locations, that is a massive one to get you by all over the place. And to me, while people say, who needs frame rates? That is a very real practical situation that I use frame rates to avoid seeing flicker, because that is a fairly common thing now. Next up, we've got a new and improved audio preamp system in this camera, which is really nice.
This is an audio test for the Komodo-X. How does it sound? Is it decent? Do I sound extra nasally in this wonderful new audio setup from the camera? Who knows? We'll find out. Hopefully it sounds really good, because if it sounds good, it makes this camera way more usable, and that'd be awesome.
We haven't fully completed our testing on it yet, but with the new RED XLR module, we should be able to have a lot better chance of getting usable in-camera audio. Now, it might not be as usable as some other camera systems, a la Canon and FX9 from Sony, but it is a massive step in the right direction compared to the OG Komodo, which at best was just scratch track if you had an audio person running something to the 3.5mm jack. Now, the bigger one here is that all of the I/O ports have been moved to the right side. And if you are used to building other cameras, having everything on one side or the other, usually the AC side, just makes routing all of your accessories so much easier. And now in combination with this Tilta I/O battery plate that can break out your SDI into 2 feeds, plus offer a multitude of power, you can power a ton of stuff on this rig for production that will be really, really useful when you are taking this into an A-cam situation on set. So, for example, the other day I had this same setup, which was a monitor, I had a 503, I had the EVF, I had the camera itself running off this with a Tilta Nucleus N, and basically we got roughly 3 hours of runtime off of a single 155 watt hour gold mount nano micro from Core. That's pretty great run times. We switched it up today and went to 298s on a shark fin, which will bring that up probably close to the maybe 4-hour range, I wanna say, which is insane to be up for that long and be able to power so much accessories, which really shows how power efficient the Komodo-X is. Now, another new thing on the Komodo-X is going to be the amount of format options. So 6K now gets a multitude of anamorphic options and different aspect ratio options, which when you're delivering for a multitude of platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all kinds of stuff, this is gonna help you get your deliverables right out of the box without needing, lots of space on the sides. The body shape is slightly longer, which means a little more ability to mount accessories, which is really nice. And some other rigging things we found useful for the new Komodo-X are the wooden camera top handle bracket kit, the bright tangerine side plate with NATO side pieces that fit the old Komodo just fine. So if you have those should fit okay. And then we've got the wooden camera riser plate coming, but not quite here yet. So along with some other upgrades on the new Komodo-X, they've got a new and improved iteration of the Komodo sensor, which seems to be about half a stop more latitude in the shadows, which is great. Color-wise on this, I feel like is really close to Raptor now. So if you do have a Raptor or a Komodo, the Komodo-X I feel like fits right in the middle and allows you to have Komodo-X be a B cam to Raptor, or have Komodo be a B cam to Komodo-X and still be able to color match pretty efficiently. We had these on set the other day. This was my B cam to a Raptor, and I was actually very, very, very surprised at how well they cut together right out of the box, which made running multicam on set for client really nice. They weren't, asking questions, oh, is the color off, this and that. So that was a really big plus. The other thing, they've given you now a locking RF mount. So gives you another multitude of choices in your cage systems, because now you don't need to find a cage that has a bottom part that will lock into the mount. You can just lock the mount and get rid of a lot of the play that is in there standard. So that's a big plus. Now, internally, we get ProRes up to 444XQ in 4K. So if you are doing a ProRes workflow on Raptor, now you can also do that on Komodo-X to match. Also, if you just have a client that wants ProRes, you're now gonna get a super sampled 6K to 4K ProRes 444, which is really awesome in this camera. And we plugged it in earlier, doing ProRes 444 at 4K on a 1 terabyte card, gets you right around an hour and 53 minutes of runtime, which is fairly decent. I mean, you can get by with a couple interviews, there's some long form stuff. Pretty great with that amount of data. Now, another thing we found recently that has been really, really cool as a find, Mutiny IO Nano IO box. And this is just gonna break out your EXT port and give you run stop, control, and time code, which 3 of the most used things, and this thing is so tiny, you can mount it on rails, you can mount it to a plate, you can pretty much mount it anywhere on your rig to be out of the way, which for me, I want this to be as low profile as possible, and while this is a little bit expensive, this is integral in making this a very, very good A-cam setup without being a massive footprint on your rig. So that's a good find as well. So one other thing that a lot of us had hoped when the Komodo-X was coming out with there would be 2 SDI ports, and I thought this would be kind of a bummer that it didn't have 2, but recently I found this tilt-a-box that is a SDI splitter as well as a power output box. So I've just got a little pigtail cable going to this, and now I'm able to run an SDI feed to both monitors and an EVF if needed, a Teradek, what have you, and still have the loop out capabilities of my monitors, which is great. So this is gonna be awesome. Still don't get to have 2 independent looks going out. It's still gonna be one going over everything, but it does allow you to not have to like daisy chain down the list, and you can just power off certain things individually if you need to without shutting down the whole signal path once you're doing all your loop outs. So that part has been really nice as well. Overall, I think the price upgrade for this is actually pretty worth it, because now I can take this on any shoot, and it's especially worth it if you have other DSM-C3 cameras like the OG Komodo or Raptor, this is going to fit well anywhere in that line as a B cam or as an A cam if you have an OG Komodo and you want to keep both. Overall, I think RED did a really good job designing this, and I think this will find its way onto a lot of sets because of the rental rate on these. It's gonna be a great interview cam, I think, action cam. The Komodo was already a really great camera for image quality and the global shutter and what it could do. But now that it has this capability, I really do think you're gonna be finding this on a lot more sets because this is a fantastic camera to rent for the price. So thanks for joining us on this first hot take talking about the RED Komodo-X. Sorry about this cable mess, but love this camera. So excited to get this thing out on some jobs. We have it for rent here, and hopefully very soon we'll be getting the RF to PL internal NDs where we can review those as well. But all in all, fantastic camera system. Thanks for watching. Remember, like and subscribe. Check out what we're doing. Thanks again.